Alright guys, in this next problem we're asked to measure the length of the line segments to the nearest half, fourth, or eighth of an inch. And let's just go and look at this ruler real quick that's set up. We can see a 1-inch mark here and a 2-inch mark here, but there's little markers in between each of the inch marks. Well, let's just count them up real quick. I can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 marks until you reach the 1-inch mark. Again, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 marks before you reach the next inch marker. And these marks in between each inch marker have specific values as well. Let's talk about those real quick. Well, I just changed pin colors, and now let's go and just count up this first mark. I can see that this is the first mark, so it's 1 out of an entire 8 marks for this first inch marker. So let's actually look at this as the part over the whole. So the part would be 1. It's 1 mark out of an entire 8 marks. So we could even write that down right here. That's 1/8. But what is this second marker? What's its value? Well, if I were to count out 1, 2 marks, I could see this is 2 out of an entire 8 marks. So let's go ahead and write 2. And in fact, I want to change colors here. Let's put that 2 down again here. So 2 out of 8. But this can be simplified. So let's go ahead and write 2 out of 8, or the part 2 over 8. And I can see that the value 2 goes into 2 and 8. So I can simplify both numerator and denominator by dividing by 2 on top and dividing by 2 on bottom. When you do that, well, 2 divided by 2 on top gives you a value of 1. 8 divided by 2 on bottom gives you a value of 4. So 2/8 of an inch is really equivalent to 1/4 of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch right here. Let's keep moving forward still. I'm going to change pin colors. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 this time. So 4/8 of an inch. I'm going to put 4 over 8 here, and we can see that there's this can actually be simplified as well. So what I'm going to do is write 4 over 8, the part over the whole, and I can see that 4 goes in both numerator and denominator. So I want to divide both numerator and denominator by 4. Another way of thinking about it is whatever I do to the top, the numerator, I have to do to the bottom, the denominator, or vice versa. Whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. So if I divide by 4 on either bottom or top, I've got to divide by 4 on the other. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we can see here that 4/8 is really equivalent to 1/2. So this is 1/2 of an inch. And that makes sense, because if we go back to the beginning and just move along the ruler, once we hit this spot, this is about half the distance from the starting point to the 1-inch mark. So this is 1/2 of an inch. Let's continue moving forward. I'm just going to change pin colors again. So we were at 4, now we're moving to 5 and 6. So this is at 6/8 of an inch, and what we can see from here is that this can be simplified. 6/8 can, I'm just going to write that over here, so 6 over 8. I can divide both top and bottom by 2 this time, and if I do that, well, 6 divided by 2 will give us a value of 3, and 8 divided by 2 will give us a value of 4. So 6/8 of an inch is really equivalent to 3/4 or 3/4 of an inch. Okay, but how did we move from fractions to getting that value 1? Well, let's see what happens here. If I count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, this is 8 marks out of 8 marks. So the part is 8 and the whole is 8. So we have 8 over 8. And whenever you have a number over itself set up as a fraction, well, its true value is equivalent to 1. Or another way of thinking about it is if we divide both top and bottom by 8, well, we can see that 8 divided by 8 in both cases is equivalent to 1. So we have 1 on top, 1 on bottom, and this fraction is also equivalent to 1. So we could box this up for the 1-inch mark. But if we continue moving forward on this ruler, how did we get 2? Well, let's think about this real quick. Again, the whole is 8. We've broken up each inch marker into into eighths, basically. I'm going to write that word down here, E-I-G-H-T-H-S. Well, if we were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, well, the 2-inch mark is at 16 out of a whole 8 marks for that inch segment. So I'd write 16 over, let's backtrack and write over 8. And if we were to simplify this by dividing by 8 on top and dividing by 8 on bottom, well, 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. Well, any number in the numerator over 1 is equivalent to that number in the numerator. Another way of thinking about this is just 2 divided by 1 in this case. Or another third way of thinking about it is whenever you have 1 in the denominator, well, you can just kind of pretend to hide it. Just don't show it, and you just write in this case, well, it's just 2. So we have 2 inches for that 2-inch mark. But that doesn't answer our question of finding the length of this line segment, so let's go ahead and actually answer that. We can see the line segment, it's actually at least 1 inch long, but it goes further than that. So it's 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of an entire 8 marks. So 1 and 5/8 inches long. So I'd put inches, and I'm just going to abbreviate it, put a period if you abbreviate it after the N, and box it up. Cool stuff.